Well, we also come to this. Renovation of the High Court in Durban is one of the projects that's been delayed by criminals. They tried to hijack the site and threaten the contractors. But Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Lethiwe Mdluli is currently assured the public that action is being taken against the construction mafias. eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli is following through with that story in Durban, and she joins us live now to give us more updates around this focus this morning. And Lethiwe, good morning to you. I mean, earlier on, we were trying to get those answers, not only from the minister, but also from members of the SAPS as to how exactly they plan interventions around stopping the acts of the construction mafia.
Well, Dumelo, on Friday we heard from the Minister of Public Works that they are working together closely with the South African Police Service to try and bring this issue to a close. And right now I'm joined by the spokesperson for the SAPS in KwaZulu-Natal, Jay Naika. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. You know, I want to know from your side, these construction mafias have been a headache for government and people in South Africa as a whole for a year here in KwaZulu-Natal, but countrywide, it's been years. What are you doing with, in terms of trying to bring this whole thing into a standstill, and also working with the government? We heard from the minister last week that he's working with you in terms of trying to solve this issue. What is currently happening?
Yeah, so last year in June, we launched the Economic Infrastructure Task Teams within KZN to work specifically with the issue of the construction mafias, but also with people that are tampering, vandalizing and stealing our essential infrastructure. So we have a team in place. It's multidisciplinary. It involves a lot of security agencies like your Metro Police, also part of that, including parastatals like your Telkom, Eskom and other parastatals. So we're working proactively. They do visit these construction sites to make contact with the people at the site, so that if they have any issues, they know who to contact. We're working very closely with the security companies. So often, if there's an issue like this, we are contacted by the security companies, and we are able to, from our JOC, dispatch security forces, whoever's available, like your tactical response teams also, that we can dispatch in your public order policing units. But besides that, there's a number of forums that are sitting, you know, and we have a specific forum to deal with this issue. They consist of the big security construction companies, including your Masters Builders Association and other entities. We sit with them on a monthly basis to see where the challenges are and how we can, you know, try and resolve these issues. It's also to educate them in terms of what they should do should they experience an issue with a grouping that's intimidating them or extorting money from them.
Yeah. You know, Jay, what's very concerning is that whenever these construction mafias go to a project, they go there with guns and threaten workers and also the company that is hired to build whatever they're building in that area. And in speaking to the minister last week, he did share that there are currently some investigations that are currently ongoing here in KwaZulu-Natal. I mean, there's a lot of these projects that are there, and we've heard so many cases where people go there and threaten workers. Are you currently aware of any projects that have been stopped? Where are you with these investigations? If you can share the numbers of the people that you've arrested so far.
Look, we have a number of projects that have experienced forms of intimidation and extortion, even damage to property, theft, etc. So there is a number of cases that are currently under investigation, a number of arrests. Matters are court going at the moment. But the biggest challenge we have, even with the arrests, is once we've arrested them, is getting the witnesses to go to court. Because they're intimidated, they don't turn up, they don't pitch up in court. In some instances, even when we make arrests, we're called out, the witnesses are intimidated and refuse to give us statements. So those are the challenges we're facing with, and you'll find that some of these cases are sitting on the court roll for a while because of the witnesses that are refusing to testify. So that's our biggest appeal. You know, even when we are called out to a site and there's a group there, we need someone to physically point out who's committed what offense so that we can arrest them. And that is where the challenge is. People will sometimes come to us and say they're prepared to open a case, but they don't want to give us a statement or they don't want to testify. So that is the biggest challenge, and that is why we have this forum in place, that we're sitting with these construction companies and discussing these challenges that we need to address.
Yeah. And in terms of the guns that these people are using, they are using high caliber firearms, and in terms of threats that a lot of people receive, and maybe the reason why they don't want to open cases is because in some cases they know these people. Are you concerned about the guns that they're using, the firearms that they're using? Because we're seeing that they're using AK-47s. We've seen pictures on social media circulating about these things. What are the police doing, and how do you protect people who will come forward and open cases against these mafias?
Yeah, look, we are looking at the issue of the security companies also, and the firearm issues. So we are working with PSIRA as well as our designated firearm officers in terms of these firearms being used to commit offences. So those issues are being dealt with. We, as I say, we at the end of the day, we cannot provide 24-hour protection to someone. However, there is a witness protection program. So those people that have given us statements, that are willing to assist in the investigation and testify, we are encouraging them to go into the witness protection program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lethiwe.
Okay, Dumelo, so that's the spokesperson for the police here in KwaZulu-Natal, eNCA, just basically elaborating on what they are doing as the police to try and curb this problem. We also heard from the minister last week that the government is spending billions in trying to hire private security companies to help the police to protect some of the construction sites that have been stopped before. At the Durban High Court, when we went there, we saw a lot of security at that construction sites, and the minister did share that they're losing out on money as well because they have to now invest in protecting those construction sites and also the people that work there. Unfortunately, like Jay did say, that a lot of people who fall victim are afraid to come forward, so it makes the work of the police a bit hard, but he is encouraging people to open these cases, and also companies that have been threatened before to work together with the police so that these cases can be solved.
Yeah, and also it goes back to the point you were making about the impact on our economy, Lethiwe. I mean, if money now has to be spent just to, of course, protect construction workers, companies against the construction mafia, it goes back to what else, that money could have achieved as opposed to, crime prevention in as far as the construction mafia is concerned. So definitely needing to hear word there from Minister Sihle Zikalala as to how exactly they plan to make sure that this intervention is successful, sustainable, long-term, as well as permanent. But thank you so much, colleague, for this update. Lethiwe Mdluli for us in KwaZulu-Natal.